Hey folks, welcome back to Chris Wyatt Reports. This is Chris in the Vol Triangle, just adjacent to the Vol River in what used to be known as the Transvaal, now known as Gauteng. On the opposite side is what used to be known as the Orange Free State, now known as the Free State. Two Boer republics that were engulfed by the British Empire and are now part of Union South Africa. So, millions of us waited with bated breath for a scheduled 2 p.m. speaking engagement by former President Jacob Zuma and leader of the Umkhonto-we-Sizwe political party, waiting to find out what he was going to say. Well, Zuma didn't show it too. His party posted a note saying that he'll now be on at 4. So we went and waited, millions of us, to hear what he had to say. He didn't show for another hour and 40 minutes. So 2 hours late, plus another hour and 40 minutes, 3 hours and 40 minutes, and he finally began to talk. Except Jacob Zuma didn't talk, ladies and gentlemen. No, he didn't talk. He had one of his radical economic transformation has-beens read his comments. And of course, why is that? Is it true that Jacob Zuma is functionally illiterate and that's why he couldn't read it? Because he had no problem talking later, but he couldn't read the comments. And the comments that were prepared sound like they were prepared by Talon Bezuidenhout. They were horrible, racist, and absolute nonsense. Now, I'm going to read some of the things that came out of his presentation or comments to the nation. It wasn't to the nation, it was to the people that they were focusing on. And this is really shameful conduct by someone who should be an elder statesman, who should be a voice of reason, but he's anything but that. So this is what he had to say about the election. They disavow the election. They claim it's fraudulent. They claim they've been cheated. They say the will of the people's been denied, and they claim that they won the majority of the election. Well, that doesn't stack up with reality. The only place that MK did well was where ethnic Zulu dominate, KwaZulu-Natal, or large numbers of them in the southern part of Mpumalanga, and in Gauteng. So 10% of the vote in Gauteng for a party that didn't exist 6 months ago was pretty darn impressive. A lot of parties have been around for decades and haven't received that much in the province. In Mpumalanga, they got 18%. Very, very good showing. However, in KZN, they got 45%, and they're claiming that the election was stolen from them. I really don't understand how. You see the nonsense coming from these race hustlers associated with that party saying, how could the DA get so many votes? Actually, the DA didn't get so many votes, you morons. Actually, pay attention to events. The DA lost votes yet again. In 2014, under Helen Zille, they had 4,091,000 votes. In 2019, under Musi Maimani, they had 3,600,000 votes. And this time in 2024, under John Steenhuisen, they managed just 3.5 million votes. They didn't get many votes. They lost votes. Not as badly as the ANC, but they lost votes. Now, this is what they said in the prepared comments, which Jacob Zuma didn't even bother to read or tell us. It is a white-led, unholy alliance between the DA and ANC. White-led? Hey, racist much? What is unholy about being white? What nasty people propagate such hateful speech? What is it you have against people who are white? Now, Zuma promised to expose white agents who allegedly planned to take the country back to apartheid. White agents. Who? Give us the names, give us the facts, give us the evidence. This is typical Jacob Zuma MK fashion. They promise something which they'll never deliver because it doesn't exist. So nothing but appealing to the basest of human instincts. Failures, like Jacob Zuma and MK, must always create boogeymen to cover up their inadequacies. Back to apartheid? We already have separate development. Riches for the cadres and misery for the rest. There you go, folks. We already have separate development. He went on to say, we need to educate our people that there is no government of national unity in South Africa. There is a white-led, unholy alliance between the DA and the ANC of Ramaphosa. It is sponsored by big business. It is for the benefit of the markets, not the people. Now, could you be any more racist than that statement? Let me share the following. While MK is no doubt full of nasty, black supremacist racists, Zuma is not a racist. No, Jay-Z is a political opportunist who sees this as a chance to get even with the ANC for having the temerity to ignore his mighty ego and pursue criminal charges which were long overdue, albeit at a glacial pace. His arrogance is what led to his criminal conviction, not any anti-Zuma agenda. Though he is correct, this is not a government of national unity. It is a coalition, and there's nothing wrong with a coalition. Went on to say it must be crushed before it finds its feet. Now, that was said by Ndela, who was reading the statement because Jacob Zuma was incapable of reading it. Now, it must be crushed before it finds its feet. Is that a call to violence? Or will the apologists pretend that this is just political rhetoric? If anyone now commits violence, blood is on the hands of MK for such an irresponsible comment. I say again, if anyone now commits violence as a consequence of this press meeting, MK bears direct responsibility for it. He said, we know that the private media has to serve its masters, but the SABC belongs to us. It has no right to feed our people with lies and to pursue narrow agendas at our expense. Feeding people with lies and pursuing a narrow agenda is exactly what MK is doing. And by the way, what masters? In case you missed it, privately held media in South Africa toes a pro-leftist line. So I'm not really sure what your actual beef with the private media is there, JC. Now, he says, we shall seek an urgent meeting with the SABC board and management to raise this issue and, if necessary, educate them on the correct political terms which are appropriate. So that sounds very thuggish, brown shirt, Sturmabteilung, Soviet Politburo, GRU, NKVD. Oppression to me. You'll educate them. Really, you're going to educate the South African Broadcasting Corporation. Now, you have no standing to do any such thing. MK does not even sit in Parliament by your own foolish choice. So you have no say here. You don't even have an oversight role because you have no members of Parliament because you lunatics didn't go to Parliament. If they do not listen, the people will march to the SABC offices to demand the truth. If there is a government of national unity, why are its founding documents only signed by Mr. Mabula and Helen Zille? Well, first off, oh, geez. First, like I said, this is what the captured legacy media gets for pimping leftist ideology and refusing to expose their crimes all these years. The left always turns on its own. It eats its own when the time is convenient. So if they do not listen, we'll march. Really? Really? They claim Trump tried to lead an insurrection just by telling people to peacefully march to the Capitol building and use their First Amendment rights. You don't have any such right. So, why is the founding document signed by Mabula and Zille? Because they are the two parties who agreed to form a government of national unity, invite others to the table. So they signed the agreement. And now the documents have been signed by the IFP, the Good Party, and the Patriotic Alliance. So this is just drivel for the masses. Just drivel for masses. Zuma said the ANC has joined the Moonshot Pact led by the DA because there's no such thing as a GNU. Here's a newsflash for you, Jay-Z. There is no Moonshot Pact. There was a multi-party charter, and it is now overcome by events or OBE. There's no reason for it to exist anymore because its purpose was to reduce the ANC below 50%, and that was achieved. Zuma further disputed the DA-ANC propaganda that MK party was against the Constitution. He said they follow the Constitution but believed it must be amended to return land. Now, the problem with leftists is that they can't even remember their own lies, even if they are just weeks old. Zuma himself stated repeatedly in English and isiZulu that Dutch Roman law and the Constitution must be abolished and African law applied. His words, not mine. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the words of a desperate to remain relevant totalitarian, someone with an ego larger than the Vaal River, about 300 meters, 200 meters from where I'm sitting right now. This conduct is shameful and it is dangerous. And Jacob Zuma has made utterances that, in reasonable mind, could be construed to be inciting violence. When will the government of South Africa issue a bench warrant for his arrest? Probably not going to happen. Probably not going to happen. Anyway, so that's what Jacob Zuma had to say. Nothing but hateful, racist garbage. Of course, Jacob Zuma didn't say it. Ndele said it, not Jacob Zuma. And I doubt that he even wrote those comments because he couldn't read them. So how could he have written them? Really a sad, sad state of affairs. These people are dyed-in-the-wool, populist, racist, according to their own words. They want to steal the land. They want to impoverish and get rid of whites, and they want to force African traditional law on 63 million South Africans who live in their constitutional system, which they themselves have claimed they want to abolish. And now they're backpedaling, saying, well, no, we didn't say that. We never said that. The problem is it's in your own words, it's in audio, it's in video. So enough of this garbage. These race-hustling slime balls need to stop their conduct. It's ridiculous. Zuma, as I said, I seriously doubt that Zuma is a racist. He's a political opportunist, and they actually think that this is going to get them what they want. What it's really going to get them is more division and more hatred. Black and white South Africa will now unite along with the media, along with the corporate world against this drivel. Hey folks, be sure to hit the like button and watch us here on the program. Thank you, God bless, and cheers.